Jump throw in time. Bobby Witt Jr. with a Gold Glove play to get Bregman. It's America's shortstop, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody on this planet does it like him at that position.
Well, welcome down on the field. I'm Bridget Howard. I think we can all agree we're getting a little too used to watching Bobby Witt Jr. make these exceptional plays on a nightly basis. But last night, his Jeter-esque throw, as Cags called it, had all of our jaws dropped. Now, I gotta remind you, it has only been 5 games since Bobby returned to the lineup after his first ever stint on the IL. But hey, you wouldn't know, 8 for 19 since returning, a .421 average, 8 hits. Oh, and he's making plays like that defensively. Hugh isn't surprised at all, but he is certainly grateful for all that Bobby brings to the table, and it all starts with one thing.
And there's talent, right? He does a lot of that. What his impact, just being able to have him active, is a big lift to everybody emotionally, on the field. Clearly, obviously the fans, it brings energy to the stadium when he's out there. He's a superstar player, and anytime you can pencil one of those in, it's a really good thing for us.
Well, Matthew Boyd, Randy Dobnak today for the series finale. He's allowed just 4 runs in 31 innings. The Royals hoping for another solid outing from him this afternoon. Ryan and Huss with lineups and first pitch next.
Private wealth.
Royals baseball is presented by your Kansas City Toyota dealers, who are giving fans the chance to win the ultimate game day experience. Visit your local KC area Toyota dealer today to enter the prize pack sweepstakes. By the Wells Fargo Active Cash Credit Card. Earn unlimited 2% cash rewards on purchases. Terms apply. And by Circa Sports and Properties. And there's still a hazy layer of clouds, and the fans would love that because it's going to be a hot one today. It is 90 degrees right now. We're expecting to get up into the upper 90s with temperature, and above that with the heat index. Here's the Cubs lineup against Randy Dobnak, with Pete Crow Armstrong in there as the designated hitter for a second straight game. Last night, Royals pitching held the Cubs to 3 runs on 7 hits, and that's a big accomplishment because the Cubs are second in the major leagues in runs per game. And last night it was Lugo, Schreiber, Cruz, and Pearson. And today it is Randy Dobnak. How about Randy Dobnak? 6 games, 4 starts, and his ERA is 1.16.
All Randy Dobnak has done is came up to the big leagues and filled up that strike zone early on, pitched to contact, getting ahead of a lot of hitters, and turned into a very good starting pitcher for the Kansas City Royals. So we're going to take a look here. On the left is before 2 strikes, and you can see every pitch is filling up the strike zone. He's attacking hitters, and then with 2 strikes on the right-hand side, when he gets ahead, take a look at that green. He's perfecting the changeup, blowing away to lefties. He's been doing a great job all year with it. Tonight, that Brown pitch against the righty, that's the sweeper, and he's going to really have to be effective with the sweeper today against the Cubbies.
And there's a breaking ball right out of the gate to Pete Crow Armstrong.
And that was the StatCast 3D powered by Google Cloud.
It's been a quiet series with the bat so far for PCA. With 1 hit, he's walked 4 times. He has a stolen base, 2 runs scored, and 2 RBIs.
Back-to-back DH days, which semi-disappointed about that as a fan, Ryan. I can't lie. But good chance PCA fouled that ball off his foot yesterday. Probably getting him a day off his foot, or day off his legs again.
How about that? 3 pitches, 1 away.
Randy Dobnak, here he goes. You don't expect the strikeout, but Randy Dobnak can do it when he gets ahead. He's going to be early contact, and he's going to welcome it. There's a different look for the Kansas City Royals defense. Left side, Nick Lofton, Tyler Tolbert at short today. Bobby Witt Jr. getting a DH day. Starling Marte out there in left. Kyle Isbell in center. Jack Caglione moving to right. See Salvador Perez at first base. Good to see him on his feet today. And Michael Massey at second, with Luke Maile taking over behind the plate today, calling the game for Randy Dobnak.
Salvi had the whole game off last night. Left center field. Marte is back with Isbell, and it's going to drop between them. And Michael Busch will end up at second base with 1 out. That might have been a case of 2 guys that don't play together very often.
Yeah, this is a tough look right here because Starling Marte, if he's like the rest of us and he's been watching Kyle Isbell, he's just coasting out there for the ball. But take a look. Starling Marte is actually in front of this baseball, so that's a weird look for Kyle Isbell. I'm sure Kyle Isbell, as he's running to that left center gap, is assuming that Marte is going to catch that ball. So a little bit of lack of communication there. Both players assuming the other's going to take it.
Alex Bregman takes a strike. And Bregman has been quiet so far. 1 for 8 with a walk. A run scored and an RBI. And really for most of his career, the Royals have handled him well, considering what he's done for the Astros and the Red Sox. 1-1. Nine years with the Astros. 1 year last year with Boston, where he was an all-star. And season number 1 of 5 with the Cubs. Lofton got a glove on it. The Royals will not get an out, but they keep the double play in order, and they keep Michael Busch at second base.
That's a knock off the bat of Bregman. This is a tough play for multiple reasons. You see there, Bregman gets it out in front, so not only is it a tough hop there for Nick Lofton, but because of Bregman getting it out in front, weird spin on that baseball. Tough hop with weird spin. Nothing that Nick Lofton can do there. Glad he knocked it down.
And 2 on 1 out to Ian Happ. And Dobnak's in with a strike. He's thrown 8 pitches and 7 strikes. Ian Happ started the series 0 for 5 with 5 strikeouts. And then in the game yesterday, he had a double and a home run. That's going to be pulled foul, and Dobnak's ahead 0-2. Do you have a comp in your career? Randy Dobnak's not going to strike out a lot of guys. He's going to throw a lot of strikes.
I just go to immediately think of sinker ballers. I think of kind of before my career, Derek Lowe. Maybe Derek Lowe, a little more velo, different arsenal at times, but that kind of movement is what I see with Randy Dobnak's sinker.
And there's an expression that's used now, swing decisions. Randy Dobnak causes a lot of swing decisions.
It's the type of movement where you really need to get a look in the box as a hitter. So you go up there, see a lot of hitters first time they face Dobnak, track a couple pitches because you really have to see it a couple times before swinging.
And now a spinner out to short, and no play, and the bases are loaded with 1 out. So a communication breakdown results in a double, a base hit off the third baseman's glove, and then a spinner loads him up.
Yeah, and look where Tyler Tolbert's positioned too. He's positioned right behind second base. This ball not hit hard. Weird spin as well. Nothing Tolbert can do there. 48 miles an hour off the bat. We'll never know. There's only one shortstop on this planet that had a chance to make that play, but he needs to get off his feet, at least on the defensive side today.
And by the way, Bobby Witt Jr. being the designated hitter today has nothing to do with his lower back.
That's been looking real healthy. He's been flying around the baseball field.
Michael Conforto has 1 at bat in the series, and that was a pinch hit double in the 9th inning last night in a 3-run game, but that ended up being the only hit that Nate Pearson allowed, picking up the save in a 6-3 win. 2-1. Haas and I last night were talking about Michael Conforto was just a rookie in the 2015 World Series, and the only game that the Mets won. Michael Conforto had 2 home runs at Citi Field.
Yep, curveballs. I remember him. Citi Field was going nuts.
2-2.
Good pitch there from Dobnak. Sinker before. Michael Conforto fouled it off to the left-hand side there, so that tells you he's on it and he's staying underneath it, trying to take it the other way. So Dobnak follows with a changeup. Conforto rolled it over foul.
Line foul, still 2 balls, 2 strikes.
With Randy Dobnak, the type of movement he features, go back to that play with Nick Lofton, just knocking it down. always want to keep the double play situation in order, but especially today with Dobnak on the mound.
In the air to left. Marte gets behind it. Bush tags. Here he comes. Here's the throw, and Chicago takes a 1-0 lead.
Michael Conforto, 10+ years in the big leagues, and it's showing right here. This is a professional at bat, understanding the assignment. You can see there, trying to miss underneath the baseball, gets it in the air to left field. Starling Marte doing what he can, getting his legs behind the baseball. Nick Lofton, see him really deep there. Good job getting depth, being able to cut the ball off there. Had vision at the second base runner and the third base runner, and decided to cut it off there, and nothing crazy happened after that.
Yeah, good point, Hodge. You don't normally see the cutoff man that close to home plate, and I guess it gives the outfielder more of an opportunity to throw all the way to the plate. But even though there's still a cutoff man in the area, the runner at second base has to respect that.
That's right. Two things there with that cutoff. So, like you said, first thing, it gives the third baseman not only more time to react to the throw, but see the runners and decide, make a decision. And then as a fielder, you always want to take and receive those cutoff throws from a backhand position. The backhand position, what that does is that allows you to come through the baseball, have your legs underneath you. If you take a look at Nick Lofton, that front shoulder of his, the glove hand side right there, always want to keep your direction towards second base, third base, and that backhand mindset will keep your direction and legs under you.
1 ball, 1 strike on Nico Horner. And he's 1 for 9 in the series with a run scored. Grounded foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And Dobnak's thrown 21 pitches. One of those days where pitcher has many reasons to work quickly, throw strikes, and get out. So you don't want your defense out there baking in the sun for too long.
It's a hot one. You knew the Chicago Cubs offense, veteran hitters were going to come into today's game and really want Dobnak to raise that ball and bring the ball up.
Saved by Maley, 2-2.
And I bet a lot of them told each other during their hitters meetings, if Dobnak comes out and paints balls down in that zone for strikes, that's okay. We'll live with that. That means he beats us today. But if not, we need to raise our sights. So be okay with taking that painted pitch down.
Up the middle, Tolbert is there and out at second base. That could have been a lot worse. Chicago gets 1 on the Michael Conforto sacrifice fly. And facing Matthew Boyd, Nick Lofton, Bobby Witt Jr. and Jack Caglione are coming up. Here's the Royals lineup today against the veteran lefty Matthew Boyd. Nick Lofton will lead off today. Carter Jensen begins the game on the bench. Bobby Witt Jr. is the designated hitter. Tyler Tolbert's in there today. Luke Maley has a 7 and 8 hitters on a hot day against a veteran lefty, Matthew Boyd, who has really blossomed later in his career. He is 35 years old, but really didn't get going the way he wanted until he got into his early 30s. The Royals saw a lot of Matthew Boyd when he was pitching for the Tigers, but he's a different pitcher now.
He's figured out himself.
Maybe more refined now.
Oh yeah. He knows what clicks for him and what makes him successful.
0-2.
Forcing him at the top, and that changeup down. That's what made Matthew Boyd successful. We're going to take a look at the full arsenal here, and the right side of your screen, the green and blue. Changeup, curveball, changeup to righties, curveball to put away lefties. Loves the slider as well, and 2 types of fastball, 4-seam and a sinking fastball, one that moves away to the righties and into those left-handers.
Backdoor breaking ball. So both starters begin the game with a 3-pitch strikeout.
Behind Boyd, the Cubbies defense, they are good. They're elite. They do it all. Alex Bregman, Dansby Swanson, part of that reason. And Ian left. Ian Happ on the left-hand side. Tyrone Taylor taking over for Pico Armstrong in center field. PCA still leading off DH, and Michael Conforto out there in right. Nico Horner, we've been looking at him all series, playing a great second base. Michael Bush at first, and Miguel Amaya behind the plate, backup catcher for the Cubs.
Strike on Bobby Witt Jr. He is 2 for 7 in this series, and on the homestand 8 for 19 with 6 runs scored, and that coming off of the injured list. Horner tries to turn away from the glare, and he makes the catch on Jr. and 2 down. And now Jack Caglione struts up to home plate with an attitude today after what he did last night.
And some confidence, as he should. 2 outs, nobody on. It's hard to imagine Matthew Boyd challenges Jack here, and if he does, I'm tuned in for it.
Breaking ball's in for strike. I remember an old hitting coach saying, in the big leagues, you go to the plate with 2 things: your bat and an attitude.
You can see the presence. Certain guys, they look like they don't want to be up there. Certain guys can't wait to get up there.
Jack Caglione and Jermaine Dye have gone 5 consecutive at-bats with an extra base hit. And for Caglione, that goes back to the game on Friday night in his last at-bat when he doubled, and then 2 more doubles and 2 home runs last night. 1-2. What do you remember about facing Matthew Boyd?
Just the angle. You see, he really drops into his legs and he drops his arm. He creates that arm angle, releases it from the first base side, but just good movement on his ball. Sink when it's down, run when it's up, the fastball, and breaking ball, change up, everything breaking ball wise.
Breaking ball for a called strike, and then 2 swings and misses on a breaking ball for a 1-2-3 bottom of the first.
Save on.
Back at Kauffman Stadium, Randy Dobnak on the mound today for the Royals. And as Vinny Pasquantino told me, Randy has brought stability for this group, not just on the mound, but also in the clubhouse. Vinny said he's the same guy every day. His experience, it's something that we needed. It's just that stabilizing force of, all right, he's here every day. We know what we're going to get every 5 days. Now, Vinny added that he's been a good veteran for the younger guys. And one of them I know being Carter Jensen. Through our conversations, he's told me Dobnak is someone he's grown really close to and enjoyed being around. And his description of Randy Dobnak, I think, is perfect, guys. He said, I think he's just a dad that's really good at throwing baseballs. That's the best way to describe him. And I'll tell you guys, I often see Randy wearing these socks in the clubhouse that say, I heart dad, with pictures of his little girls on there. So I will tell you, too, you know, we saw in Minnesota, one of Randy's daughters was on the field post-game helping out the grounds crew. And while Carter might call him, you know, a dad who just throws baseballs really well, I think I will call him wholesome.
Girl dad. There's nothing better than being a girl dad. Every grown man deserves a little girl. Look at that.
That was at Target Field on the last road trip.
Oh, man. They will steal your heart. We did the games in Baltimore right after Randy had a great outing at Citi Field, and I went home that night, took the train up to Baltimore that next morning, and Dobnak was meeting his family out there in the hotel lobby and seeing his little girls run up to him. It makes you so soft being a girl dad. I was so happy for him.
And he's a good fielder for a girl dad. And I can speak from experience that if you asked his daughter, what was the best part about going to the ballpark with dad? Was it watching him win? Was
Taking care of the field?
No, I got to play with the hose, with the grounds crew.
So cool.
And look at that ERA leaderboard in our Xfinity player profile with at least 4 starts going back to the beginning of last month. Only Drew Rasmussen of the Rays has a lower ERA. He's given up 4 hits or fewer in his last 4 appearances, which included his last start against Minnesota, where he pitched exceptionally well against the same team twice in a week, which is very difficult to do because they've just seen you, the hitters. They know what you're trying to do. You're familiar. You're in the back of their mind. Nothing's really new coming out of your hand, and just gave it to the Twins in back-to-back starts. 1 run over 12 innings.
It always feels like it's advantage hitter. The more at bats, the more looks you get off a pitcher. Especially within weeks in the season, let alone back-to-back starts. So that was impressive for Randy to go back-to-back against the Twins and not change who he was on that mound.
He gets a strikeout against Amaya. That is his second, getting in with a breaking ball. Well, more Randy Dobnak, and this is a day he will never forget. His big league debut in 2019 against Cleveland. And it was not a smooth path to the big leagues for Randy Dobnak, who pitched at a Division II school in West Virginia. He was undrafted, and Minnesota ended up signing him out of an independent league. And that 2019 season included beginning the year in A-ball, finishing the season in the big leagues, getting a win in a game that clinched the division for Minnesota, and pitching in the playoffs. How about that for a full spectrum in 1 year?
Elite mustache Randy Dobnak was featuring too.
We're celebrating America.
2027 season tickets are now available. Find the membership that fits your schedule and budget. You can choose from full plans, half plans, partial season plans, or create your own experience with Fans Choice. And you can secure yours at royals.com/memberships. And all the perks that come with season tickets. This is at bat number 53 for Salvador Perez against Matthew Boyd. 2 balls and no strikes.
Any pitcher that's spent a good amount of time in the American League Central, there's a good chance they've got a long history with Salvador Perez. 50 at bats against one guy in the big leagues. That's a long history.
Swanson goes to the middle, and Boyd has retired the first 4 on a total of 12 pitches. His defense appreciates that. We were having some fun with you yesterday, looking up your career numbers and testing your memory. Who'd you have the most hits against, home runs against, who hit you the most times, the most walks? I didn't ask you if you remember who did you have the most at bats against, and Dave Whitty's looked it up here.
I did not fare well in my answers on this game. I didn't do good, but American League Central, somebody in that AL Central.
Well, it was given to you. Justin Verlander. You had 88 at-bats against Justin Verlander.
That's fun, right? Oh, man. I remember early on, he threw the 130-something pitch at 99 miles an hour of a complete game. He was different.
That was his rookie year. Caught at second base by Horner. Starling Marte is out number 2. Well, hey, you had a 250 average against Verlander, a couple of home runs.
That's fair.
Respectable 703 OPS.
Fair.
And then after that, Jose Quintana, 80 at bats.
Not too well off him.
Yeah, we'll skip over that one.
Lefty power sinker. That's not a good matchup for me.
Michael Massey with 2 down. On the ground to second. Man, that's a 15 pitches and 2 perfect innings for Matthew Boyd.
Easier investing.
Win big for a great cause. Play the Royals 50/50 raffle, which is at $17,000 right now. There's a winner announced during every home game. Half of the proceeds go to you, and the other half to the Kansas City Royals Foundation and their mission. You can play here or online at royals.com/50/50. Fouled away by Pete Crow Armstrong. There you go, 17,201, which is great advertising here at Kauffman Stadium. If you're sitting in your seats and one of the ushers goes by and you're wondering if you should buy a ticket or not, you can look right up on the scoreboard and see where the pot lies.
And that pot's been climbing fast. I was watching it the other night. It got up to about 54, 55. It seemed like it got up there real fast.
2-1 on Pete Crow Armstrong, who struck out on 3 pitches to begin the game, and then Matthew Boyd struck out his first hitter on 3 pitches. Just a little outside. 3-1 on Crow Armstrong, who is 1 for 7 in the series. He has reached 4 times by way of a walk. And a strike. And I am shocked he didn't challenge that. That looked like it was way outside, at least by today's standards.
That looked way off, and it was a slider. And usually the backdoor slider starts as a ball. That one looked like it didn't break as much as Dobnak wanted to. So again, it was never a strike.
And that's on the corner. Well, if he's mad, he can only be mad at himself because he has the right to challenge, although I think that one may have caught part of the strike zone.
He's right to be mad, but you got to wonder why PCA didn't choose to challenge either one. We're going to see the last 2. That's the breaking ball, backdoor, really kind of backed up, and then okay, 3-2, or that pitch right there. Excuse me, that was a strike. Yeah, but you got to wonder why he didn't pull the trigger the pitch before.
Well, once he calms down, and he's the DH, he'll probably go look at the video. He may be glad he didn't ask for a challenge there because he would have lost it.
Might also be one of them days, Ryan. We might stay tuned on that. PCA's, he's a little angry right now. He's going to be fiery from here on out.
That was Dobnak's 3rd strikeout in his 2nd against Crow Armstrong. Michael Busch hit the ball well into left center field in the 1st inning, but it looked like it had a good chance of being an out. But it dropped behind Marte and in front of Isbell for a double. And then later in the inning, Busch scored on a Michael Conforto sacrifice fly. And now he lines it to right field. He's had a good series. That's his 5th hit of the series. And Busch is at first base with 1 out.
Change up down. This is loud off the bat here from Michael Busch. 106 miles an hour. Great job letting that ball get deep. The left-handed hitters so far for the Chicago Cubs have been doing a great job of zoning Randy Dobnak up and in. See a couple change-ups and sinkers that they've laid off low and away. So Randy Dobnak's trying to get that sweeper, get something going inside to the left-handed hitter to throw him off, give him a different look.
Alex Bregman singled off of Nick Lofton's glove in the 1st inning, which ended up being a pretty significant play, because while the Royals didn't get an out, what could have been a double and maybe an RBI ended up being an infield single. That's a called strike, and that looked inside. Maybe caught the inside edge of the strike zone. Tied him up. 1-2.
Thinking ground ball there. Randy Dobnak executing that sinker inside to Alex Bregman. Now he's got him set up to run that sinker right back in on his hands for another ground ball, or that sweeper low and away. See the ground ball right there.
Pop up. Massey wants it, and Caglione, who becomes the 5th infielder, comes in to make the catch.
Good boy, Cags. Way easier coming in for the outfielder there. Cags calling this one early and continuing to call it, so Michael Massey knew to get out of his way. No collision. Outfielder always takes priority right there because he's coming in on the baseball, so it's always easier coming in versus running out the opposite direction.
Full sunglasses today, and most of that haze has burned off. Ian Happ had a spinning 48-mile-an-hour infield single in the 1st inning that loaded the bases with 1 out and had the Cubs in line for a big inning, but Dobnak only allowed the sacrifice fly. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Those 2 pitches right there, sinker catches the bottom outer half of the plate, just dotted, and then a good changeup off the plate, low and away. So same type of movement. That's why Randy Dobnak needs something to go inside towards a left-handed hitter.
Changeup fades away, 2-1.
And what that does is if that ball starts middle, instead of these left-handed hitters assuming that it's going to run off the plate, if it breaks in towards them, now they're wondering, is it going to be moving away from me or inside, not just one direction.
That's a base hit into left center field for Happ. And the Cubs have 2 on with 2 out.
Just a professional at bat from Ian Happ right here. Just extremely obvious the approach. Take that sinker the other way. That's got to be up for me to want to swing. I'm okay if he paints low and away. Make him do that 3 times. If not, I stay on my approach the whole entire at bat.
Michael Conforto. He had a sac fly to Marte in the first inning, driving in the Cubs run. Left-hand hitter playing in right field today. One ball, one strike.
There it is, that sweeper breaking inside to the lefties. So Dobnak fully aware of that situation. Good job for him picking that up mid-game out there.
Two and one. And now 55 pitches in 2 2/3 innings. Two balls, two strikes. The right-handed hitting right fielder this year is on the injured list, Matt Shaw. And our injury report update brought to you by the University of Kansas Health System. Last year when we were at Wrigley Field, Matt Shaw was playing at third base and had a really good series. He was swinging the bat well. He's been out with a hand injury and a back injury. So it's Conforto in right today. Seiya Suzuki has been playing in right field in the series. Conforto bloops it out into left center field, and he's going to drive in his second run of the game. And both times it's Michael Busch crossing home plate, and Chicago leads 2-0.
We're really seeing that 9 versus 1 team approach from the Chicago Cubs right here. Michael Conforto staying inside the baseball. That ball's on the inner half with movement. It's a good left-handed swing. That's what happens. You're able to stay inside the baseball, and it produces those type of hits.
And now Nico Horner. That was a swing, says Louis Krupa, the umpire down at first base.
Yep. Good call. See the barrel crossing. I feel like you never know with check swings nowadays, but that was clear and obvious.
Oh, 2. You say, you know, his bat crossed, and talking to different umpires over the years, some use the front of the plate, you know, across the front of the plate. Some umpires down the lines will just look right down the line and they look and see if the bat crossed the line. So there's no one way to do it. And now another bloop into left center field. Happ scores, and the Cubs lead 3-0.
This is a changeup down below the zone. See Nico Horner staring at the radar gun up there because similar type of movement to the sinker. Nico sees it out of hand and he's telling himself, I got to go. It's a sinker. All of a sudden it's an 83-mile-an-hour changeup. He catches it out front, just bloops it in there. 2-out RBI knock.
Yeah, I'm looking at the 3 RBI swings so far, Haas. The Conforto sac fly in the first, And the two bloops here, and you mentioned a professional at bat, didn't even look like full swings.
So again, when I say the 9 versus 1 approach, we've seen the lefties, and it's clear their approach is to get underneath this sinker and take it to the left center field gap. Same with the righties. We got to stay inside this sinker, drive it to the right center gap. If he throws the changeup and the slider where he wants it and paints all day, we'll tip our hat. It's just consistently the same approach for each hitter. So for Randy Dobnak on the mound, it's the same problem. It's not 1 or 2 hitters doing this and then he gets away with free outs throughout the lineup somewhere else. It's the same approach from these Cubbies hitter.
Inside on Swanson. Didn't you tell me one time that Dale Swaim would create games within the games for you guys on offense against a certain pitcher?
If it was a guy like Randy Dobnak, anybody who would hit a ground ball to that right side, we would definitely lose that game. It was always incentivized to take him to left center field and drive him that way. And that's what it does right here.
Doesn't even look like a full follow through.
No, if you have that approach, that barrel stays through the hitting zone and catch that ball deep, middle, or out front. It's going to be good results either way.
Now Swanson grounds it to Tolbert and out at second base. And the Cubs get 2 on 2 out RBIs from Conforto and Horner.
Whatever you say.
It's a hot one in Kansas City today, high above Kauffman Stadium with the Rally House Rally Cam, and that's also about the angle of the sun. So any ball hit to left field, left center, left side of the infield, they do not want to be looking in the direction of the Rally House Rally Cam because they'll be looking into the sun.
I saw some of those cold zones yesterday throughout the stadium. I might need to go get in front of one of those big fans with the refreshment sprinkling out there. That looked great on a hot day like this, especially a day game.
You know, that'd be a fun experiment. I wonder if I just said on the air, Eric Hosmer would really like one of those cooling misters here in the booth. How long would it take for someone to just move a mountain?
See if I got any
to
pull
come up
around
here and bring a cooling mister just to get a hug from Eric Hosmer.
And or one of those s'more marshmallow tiramisu cakes we had the other day.
Diving play by Bregman at third on a line drive by Tolbert. That's frustrating.
Very frustrating. Alex Bregman's playing in just in case Tolbert wants to bunt. Tolbert hits a line drive there. It's just a little easy dive to the second base side, looking it in all the way.
Here's Luke Maile with 1 out. That was the first good swing, by the way, against Matthew Boyd, who threw 9 pitches in the first and 6 pitches in the second.
Efficiency. And we're seeing every reason why these Cubs pitchers have no problem being efficient and attack the zone. The defense has been on full display this series.
Right to Taylor in center field. 2 down. He has recorded a total of 8 outs with 9 pitches in the first, 6 in the second, 5 in the third. And yeah, you might want to go up there and say I'm going to take a couple of pitches, but the way he's going right now, that gets you 0-2 right away.
That's it. There's no reason for the Royals hitters to go up there and take and make him throw pitches. He's attacking the zone, so continue to be aggressive.
Matthew Boyd has been on the injured list twice, but he was injured in May. He tore some cartilage in his knee wrestling with his kids at home and had to have arthroscopic surgery. That's kind of an embarrassing injury to have, but hey, I appreciate his honesty. He could have come up with slipped in the bathtub or slipped on the stairs or whatever.
Tough way to get injured too.
That's his left knee, so that's his back knee, or as they say, his drive knee.
Yeah, he sits right on that right there. So that's got to be healthy for him to have success. And it's healthy now because ever since he's came back from the IL, he's been really, really good.
He's gone at least 6 innings in his last 6 starts. 5-0 since coming back, which included a win on Monday against the Dodgers at Wrigley Field. Two and 2 on Isbell. And with a slow big curveball like that, I bet there was about 2 different times as that ball was coming in that Isbell thought he was going to get hit, and it almost ended up being a strike.
It's the same one I buckled on that trajectory machine earlier.
And Isbell reaches with a walk, and that's the Royals' first base runner. Now, we talked about him kind of having 2 different careers. If you go back to 2024, he's been one of the best. Last year he was an all-star. He went 14-8, but a late bloomer. In his first 7 years, his record was 37-57, 20 games under 500 for some bad teams. That's not all on him. But now in his last 5 years, he is 30-16, and there was a point where you wondered about 5-6 years ago, is Matthew Boyd done? But in his early to mid 30s now, he's been at his best.
That's why it's so important for pitchers and players, no matter what you're doing in baseball, to learn thyself. Matthew Boyd came up in a time where the 4-seam fastball was really taking off. It was a big trend in baseball at the top of the zone, and you mix it with something that dropped to the bottom, and it took him years and years to figure out, maybe changing a different team, going to a different location, organization, that hey, stick to your sinker.
Lofton lines it to left, and the inning is over, but the Royals are starting to get some good swings against Matthew Boyd, who has a 3-0 lead.
Save big money with.
Be one of the first 10,000 fans here at Kauffman Stadium on August 21st with Tigers in town, and receive a special City Connect cross-body bag presented by Price Chopper, and then fireworks after the game. Get your tickets at royals.com/promotions. 3-0 Cubs. And now a leadoff single for Miguel Amaya. And the Cubs have 8 hits against Randy Dobnak in 3+ innings.
This is what Randy wants here. Early contact from Miguel Amaya, but just able to sneak it up the middle, hitting it where the Royals aren't. Perfectly placed, nothing you can do there on the infield.
Bunted hard by Taylor. Lofton goes to second, and a pick by Massey for the force out.
Whataburger, need you. This is the Whataburger what a play here. Going to get a lot of hat tips from the dugout. Look at this play from Nick Lofton, coming in aggressively on the bunt, field it on the run, and make that throw. And then Michael Massey on the other end, understanding there's only one out here. Let me get like a first baseman and make the pick. Backhanded pick, that is. Beautiful play all around there.
One on, one out for Pete Crow Armstrong, who's having a rough day at the plate. He struck out on 3 pitches in the first inning, and then he was at odds with home plate umpire DJ Rayburn in the third. He did not use a challenge, but they had words on his way back, and now I don't even know if I would call that a half swing on the first pitch from Dobnak in this at bat.
PCA told himself on deck that I'm swinging right now, and I'm trusting it's going to be a sinker, and he saw it wasn't out of hand, so it's just building up to the frustration.
One ball, one strike. So 8 hits for the Cubs in 3 1/3. Randy Dobnak gave up 7 hits total in his previous 2 starts. And that was over 12 innings. And now line foul. And in the 2 starts before those, a total of 8 hits against the Padres and the Tigers.
When you're a pitch to contact guy, you're going to have those outings every now and then where it just seems like every ball off the bat's finding a hole and there's really nothing you can do. But for Randy, don't let that shy you away from the zone. And then you get the 2 strikes right here, put them away.
Hot shot. Massey's got it. Out at second. And with PCA speed, no double play. But the Royals are fortunate to get at least 1 out. And now back-to-back plays where Michael Massey's shown off his good hands.
Yeah, we've been seeing that too. Michael Massey, like Nico Horner, he can play some second base. And we see again that glove side turn. Beautiful footwork here. Create that long hop, turn glove side, get a good feed going to shortstop. PCA hit that ball hard, but he turned on the speed as soon as Michael Massey came up with it. No chance to double him up.
Michael Busch takes a strike. He has 2 hits and 2 runs scored. 5 hits in the series.
This is the interesting stuff here with team baseball. PCA on first with a sinker baller and a lefty up. I'm sure it's known that he's going to give Michael Busch a pitch or 2 to have that big hole. And then now with 2 strikes, now PCA saying, okay, 0-2 count. I can steal this base. Worst comes to worst, I get thrown out, get you a fresh at bat, but I can get to scoring position, get you a bloop hit, free RBI. See the way the Royals are positioned. So Michael Busch likes to pull the baseball. And we know as lefties, Ryan, with that 3-4 opens as big as it is, you want to drive the ball that way.
Up and away forever, it feels like. The first 2 hitters in a lineup could do 2 things. Your leadoff guy could get on and steal a base, and your number 2 hitter could hit the hole on the right side, because if your leadoff man was on, that hole was always there.
Omar Infante did that better than I've ever seen. I remember playing against Detroit. Every time he would do that so well, take the fastball and hit that hole with a guy on, and anytime he got a slider, it would pull down the line. And that's what that approach, that's what it does.
Line foul. And in the pre-shift days, the first baseman would be holding the runner. The second baseman would be a traditional double play depth. So the hole is much bigger than it is right now. The Royals are trying to fill it somewhat with Massey on the right side, but right hand, left hand batter, if you batted second in the big leagues, that was something that was a skill you needed to have.
Yeah.
Fouled away, and it's still 1 ball, 2 strikes. And Dobnak is about to throw his 75th pitch, and we've been talking about this since the early parts of the first game on Friday. These Cubs, they have long at bats. They foul off a lot of pitches. They take a lot of pitches. They lead the major leagues in walk percentage. They're second in the major leagues in on base percentage, and they already have 15 foul balls today. And there it is through the right side. And with Caglione's arm, Pete Crow Armstrong is happy just to jog into second base. And Michael Busch is 3 for 3.
Slider here from Dobnak. See it catch a little bit of the outer half, a lot of plate. And there's that big hole. PCA DHing back-to-back days, and we haven't heard anything, but you assume that foul ball yesterday off his foot is a reason why. So good chance PCA is telling Michael Busch, hey, get your pitches to hit and use that hole. I'm not going anywhere.
And now through the left side, and here he comes around third. Marte's throw is not in time, and the Cubs get yet another 2-out RBI, and they lead 4-0.
PCA had to turn it on there. Alex Bregman taking this sinker at the bottom of the zone. Just gets it past Nick Lofton there, and see that 2-out lead from PCA. Pete Crow Armstrong. That turnaround third's already created, and if he turns those jets on, that's a lead speed.
10 of their 13 runs in this series have come with 2 outs. including 6 of the last 7. That's another mark of a good offense. Ian Happ is 2 for 2.
We've been on the Cubs defensively and offensively because there's a lot to learn here from this veteran group. This is an impressive approach they came in here off of Randy Dobnak with. And for me, Ryan, it's the guy on first base, Alex Bregman. He demands this from his teammates. He really takes it above and beyond that, not only himself each and every day, that he's locked in and he knows what's the best approach to make him succeed. He takes that and carries that onto his teammates.
Another ground ball. Massey cuts this one off with a slide, and that saved a run. And that's the inning. The Cubs get another 2-out RBI. 4-0 Chicago with Junior, Kaggs, and Salvi coming up.
August 22nd against the Tigers.
Kansas City Royals baseball is presented by Quick Trip. Download the QT app for exclusive deals and offers. And by Community America Credit Union, invested in you. Which leads us to Junior, and you can see him all around town in a Community America billboard.
Airport too.
He popped out to second in the first inning. Matthew Boyd is retired 9 of 10, but the Royals had a couple of lineouts in the third inning.
It's a big inning here for the Royals. Heart of the lineup coming up. See if we can get Matthew Boyd out of his rhythm.
Good swing, good contact, good sound, but he got underneath it, and Taylor makes a play in right center field. Down to Bridget.
All right, guys, well, with Kaggs up to bat, he had told us that working with Royals hitting coach Marcus Thames has recently unlocked a more simple approach for him. Q said last night he just looked calm in all of his at-bats, and Jack echoed that, saying he felt grounded, and he really hopes to continue feeling that moving forward. And as for the message from Thames, Jack told us that staying grounded in his stance really allows the ball to come to him rather than him stepping forward to go get it. He's always telling him you don't need to get more. Be as still as we can possibly be, the better. That's really just all that they have been working on, both Kaggs and with Marcus Thames. So, Haas, I want you to break that down. What does that mean?
Oh, I want to break something down. I got to talk to Marcus, Bridget, and we were both talking about just the night last night that Kaggs had. It's a hitting coach's dream. Every player dreams of having a night like he did because it was so impressive. And I got to tell Marcus, I was up here in the booth getting ready the other night before our game, and way before the day started, Jack and Carter were taking early batting practice off the machine, and Jack, to warm up, had a baseball in his top hand, his left hand, and the bat in his right hand. And just how you throw the ball up to yourself and hit a fungo or hit a ball, Jack threw the ball up to himself and hit the ball in the fountains. And I said, Marcus, did anybody see that? Because I was on the talkback button to Kevin and all the boys in the truck saying, did anybody get a camera? Did anybody see what he just did? And we just laughed and shared a laugh over it because he said, did you see that? That is so powerful to be able to do that. And it was one of the most impressive things, let alone the 4 hits last night. But that was one of the coolest things I've ever seen on a baseball field. And this is what it leads to. I mean, again, when you're getting 2 types of fastballs, a sinker and a cutter, and you just drive them right to center field to the right side, and then you get a changeup and an off-speed pitch. You let it get deep, take it that way off the left field wall, and that off-speed double that he hit down the line on the sweeper. It's just everything that you want to do as a hitter was done last night from Jack Caglione.
Matthew Boyd, a veteran left-hander, knows how to pitch to a young left-hand power hitter, and he's gotten a strikeout and a ground out to first from Caglione in his first 2 at-bats today. And Salvi takes outside, ball 1. Salvi grounded out to short in the second inning.
And for all the coaches out there that have hit an in and out, infield, outfield, just look at this stadium. To stand in the batter's box, throw a ball up to yourself and hit it in the fountains, it's just ridiculous.
And some of his longest home runs this year have come on nice, easy swings. Funny how that happens, isn't it? You muscle up and you try and hit it a mile and you barely get out of the infield, but it just shows how enormous his power is. That, I mean, a 3/4 swing is plenty enough to get it out of here.
Yeah, and that's why every hitting coach will bring the player out there, do no stride drill, and show him that you have that same amount of power doing that.
1-2 on Salvi.
And then last thing, the mindset too, just to the first fastball you see in the zone, to put damage on it and still have 3 at-bats left and understand, okay, I'm not going to get a fastball in the zone. Let's be disciplined, take the breaking stuff the other way. He just did all of it.
Still 1-2. There's a base hit into left center field, and the Royals first today to go along with a 2-out walk last inning.
Okay, that'll get things going for Kansas City here. Slider from Boyd. He's trying to go to the back foot of Salvi there, put him away, and still a ball bottom of the zone, but Salvi's bat to ball elite hand-eye contact, hand-eye coordination, and he can hit those pitches.
How about an ambush here from Marte? That's what he was thinking. He has spent most of the year with an inside out swing, trying to take the ball to right center field and right, but he's had a few swings this year where he's guessed right, put a charge into one to left or left center.
He guessed right there, just missed it.
And back with a changeup, which Matthew Boyd has always thrown effectively.
Hard in, soft away, good fastball in, changeup blown away. Simple mix, but it's effective.
One and two. Yeah, that light haze has moved off to the east, so it is full sunlight now with temperatures getting up into the upper 90s. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and there's a breeze right now that if the fans in the seats in left field corner, they're getting some of that wind, but that's a wind out of the south, which might feel more like a hair dryer than a cool breeze off the water. Marte, there's the charge to left field, gone, and now it's a 4-2 game.
Starling Marte, get the boys going. Catching a changeup out front. Pull side homer. 107 miles an hour. We're going to go ahead and round up. Battling with 2 strikes, and that'll tell you everything you need to know right there. Rose climbing back into this one.
And the Royals get runs with 2 outs. This started with 2 outs and nobody on. Salvi's single and Marte's home run. And now Massey hits it off the end of the bat to right. And it's a dive and a miss by Conforto. And Michael Massey with 2 outs. He's going to end up at third base.
All right, now the Royals offense is cooking. Salvador Perez getting it going. Get the first one, get on the board, first knock. And the boys are following. Michael Massey catching that curveball out in front. Michael Conforto coming in, making a dive. And Tyrone Taylor, the center fielder, great job backing up there, busting it. Kauffman Stadium big. Michael Massey still able to get a triple out of it.
Triple number 1 with some help from Conforto on the miss. Sometimes on a play like that, it's kind of a dive out of desperation. But let's watch. Did that ball? Yeah, that ball went off of his glove and over his glove. So it would have been a really good play, but it was not a desperation play. He had a legitimate shot to make that catch.
Yeah, this stadium too, Kauffman Stadium, it's big. There's a lot of room out there. So if you're going to go ahead and dive for that ball, you also risk that ball getting behind you. And you know you're giving up 2 bases minimum. Tyrone Taylor backing it up out there in center field. That's good awareness, but Tyler Tolbert here, he's got the whole 3-4 hole open on that right side. Give him incentive to drive the ball that way, cash in here.
He's already lined out to that side today. Off the end of the bat, and Horner fields and throws in time, but Starling Marte with 2 outs hits a 2-run home run, giving the Royals some life, and they trail by 2. For every Royals hit this season, Quick Trip and the Royals will donate books to Kansas City schools and nonprofits through the Hit the Books program. Learn more at royals.com/book request. Now we're ready to go. And Michael Conforto, who has driven in 2 of the Cubs' 4 runs, leads off and hits it on the ground to Salvi, who gets a nice hop, and Dobnak is there for out number 1. Here's a message from UMB Private Wealth.
Is my retirement plan on track?
Are my investments aligned with my goals?
Is my plan built for the long run?
Schedule an appointment today.
Nico Horner has an RBI single today. 3 of the Cubs' 4 runs today have come with 2 outs. 6 of their last 7 going back to last night have come with 2 outs. And 10 of their total 13 have come with 2 outs. And Randy Dobnak could use a quick inning here. He had a 1-2-3 second inning, but the Cubs have made him work in innings 1, 3, and 4.
Got Conforto swinging first pitch there. That's the first sinker low and away that Dobnak's gotten one of the Cubs hitters to roll over on.
Low, 1 ball, 1 strike. On the edge. 1-2. Two balls, 2 strikes on Nico Horner, who signed a 6-year contract extension with the Cubs right around opening day this year. He also signed Pete Crow Armstrong to a 6-year extension. He and Happ a couple of years ago, trying to keep that young core together for the long term. Three and two.
Nico Horner was drawing a lot of attention last year on the trade deadline, in season and in the offseason, but Cubbies made a good move in locking him down, in my opinion.
And that's a 1-out walk. So the Cubs have been busy on the base paths, but that's their first walk. And they lead the major leagues in walk percentage. Royals pitchers only walked 3 in the game last night and 3 in the game on Friday. 1 on 1 out for Dansby Swanson, who has grounded out twice and is 0 for 9 in the series. 0-1.
10 hits for the Cubs. A couple of them barreled up and a couple of them just finding holes, and Dobnak doing a great job this inning, getting right back in the zone. First pitch out and first pitch strike here to Dansby has him set up for the ground ball.
Way out in front and going for it all. Dansby Swanson has 17 home runs this year.
Dobnak's changeup is so tough because for hitters it's the same movement and action as his sinker, but just stops midway.
Into the Cubs dugout. He's thrown 90 pitches, but on a day like today, does it feel like 90 pitches or does it feel like 100 pitches?
Feels like you got to add at least 10 pitches to whatever the pitch count ends up being. Hot and humid.
And there's the added challenge of perspiration rolling down his wrist and his forearm and getting in his throwing hand. You see pitchers a lot of time constantly wiping off their hand and their wrist. Some pitchers, even on a day like today, will wear long sleeves just because they don't like sweat running down their arm.
This will be one of those days back in the day, talking to George Brett and some of his old teammates when the AstroTurf was there. I'm sure they need the buckets in the dugout to throw their cleats in those buckets so their cleats wouldn't melt.
Yeah, they literally would have buckets of ice and they would just dunk their spikes in the buckets of ice when they're at bat, or at least in the dugout. Runner going, it's inside, and Maley's throw is to the third base side of the bag, and Horner steals second base with one out.
Horner steals on a changeup here. Good pitch to run on. For all you young baseball players out there, something to pay attention to in the future. Anytime with 2 strikes a pitcher picks off, you got to feel like he's going with a breaking ball that next pitch.
Oh, so not necessarily trying to pick you off, just get you a little bit closer because he's going to be pitching down with the next pitch.
There you go. So if you're thinking the pitcher wants to execute that breaking ball at the bottom of the zone. So if I'm a pitcher on the mound and I'm about to throw a ball in the dirt and it's 1 out and I want to put this hitter away, that's a base stealer on first base. I need to go ahead and pick off. So if I'm a hitter in that part, in the box in that point, I'm thinking, okay, he's picking off because he's coming at me with something in the dirt soft.
There you go. A sweeper. And Swanson is 0 for 10 in the series.
Pick a side out of hand. Is he going to break towards Dansby's back foot or low and away? And it was the sweeper low and away. Dobnak had Dansby on that front side. As soon as you get that hitter on the front side, you can put him away with those breaking balls.
That's 4 strikeouts for Dobnak. And now runner at second, 2 down for Amaya. And Amaya hits it well to center field. Isbell is back. He is on it. So the Cubs are scoreless in the 5th. They lead 4-2. Come out to Kauffman Stadium on August 22nd for Ladies Night. The Detroit Tigers are in town, and you can take home an exclusive Royal City Connect wristlet and early access to special vendors in stadium when you purchase a theme ticket at royals.com/ladies. Mac Cotrero says 94 pitches is enough on a hot day in 5 innings. And it was Bob McClure, our pitching coach here a long time ago, who told me about pitchers, starting pitchers in particular. That was Easton McGee, by the way, warming up. And Luke Maley's going to be on to begin the bottom of the 5th inning. And he said, when you're evaluating a pitcher and deciding how long he can go, you're going to look at his pitch count, you're going to look at his stuff, and you start adding up stressors. How many high stress innings did he have? So 94 pitches, but he had to make a lot of high stress pitches today.
Yeah, love Bob first and foremost. Learned so much from him first couple years while he was pitching coach, and it's so true. Those stressful innings Those are taxing on pitchers, and it's hard to bounce back after that.
And now Isbell bunts, but in the air, and the Cubs likely will get a double play. The Royals are going to want to take a look at it and make sure that Boyd caught it on the fly. And they will not challenge. They believe that he did.
Yeah, you see as he pops this up a little bit, and Luke Maile just trying to make up for his lack of speed. He's a catcher, a little older, maybe assumes that that ball is going to take a bounce. Matthew Boyd's able to get off the mound and get himself 2 outs.
And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, that's acceptable from the Royals' point of view, because you got your catcher running. What you don't want there is the ball to drop and you get a force out at second base and you accomplish nothing. So take a risk that in the fact it does drop, because if he freezes, right, and the ball drops, he's still going to be out at second base. So is that a gamble worth taking?
Yeah, it's one of those situations we see infielders when a pop up, when they drop it on purpose, it's almost when the hitter's not running out of the box, they can let the ball drop, pick it up, throw to first, and get the guy in a rundown while you record the out, which is the hitter.
And now Lofton rolls it up the line, foul.
So in that situation, Luke Maile is just taking a gamble. I mean, half the time you see the pitchers, they don't even go for pop-ups off the mound. So Matthew Boyd, a little older, coming back from an injury, moving good, but I can see why Luke Maile took the gamble on that play.
You know, and even if he freezes, you get the out at second base, and you have Isbell at first base with 1 out. But if he catches it as he did, then you have Maile at first base with 1 out. So there's no really great scenario in that. What you want is to get Maile to second base.
Right. That's a bunt for a lefty you want to pull with you, and that's the one you just want to get past the pitcher. But the way that came off Izzy's bat, it seemed like it had some backspin, that would have bounced right back to the catcher. If it was just a little shorter and Boyd wasn't able to reach it.
Nick Lofton has struck out and lined to deep left against Boyd. Another foul ball. Little different scenario for Matthew Boyd. And we're talking about high stress innings for Randy Dobnak. He's thrown 55 pitches against Dobnak's 94. And he's going to end up, if the play is made, with 56 pitches in 5 innings and only 7 needed in the 5th. Kansas City Royals baseball is presented by Yingling Flight, the next generation of light beer, and by your local Kansas City Honda dealers and the Rally House Rally Cam. And over the weekend, the Chiefs will be home. They're hosting the Rams in their first preseason game as Arrowhead converts back to a football stadium, an American football stadium.
It's exciting to see all the clips online. Football season starting up, all the teams reporting to camp. Fun time of year.
Easton McGee. This is what he's done in 5 games. Good numbers. And he throws ball 1 to Tyrone Taylor, the Cubs' number 9 hitter. Randy Dobnak gave up 4 runs, 10 hits. And even though that might be a great line, especially with the way he's been pitching lately, there were opportunities for much bigger innings. In the first, when he gave up just 1 run. In the third, when he gave up 2 runs. And in the fourth.
Yeah, Randy did a good job of limiting the damage. Some balls found some holes there for the Cubs offense, but Randy was able to bear down and get out of it. Easton McGee, that's what we're going to see right there. The sweeper against the righties. It's a low arm angle, similar to Matthew Boyd, but from the right side, obviously, and he's long and lanky. Sweeper, curveball to lefties, and the 4-seam, that's got the movement.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Salvi runs to his dugout, and it lands in the camera area in Bridget's vicinity. Bridget did the right thing and allowed Salvi to make a play, as opposed to getting involved with the pop-up herself.
Yeah, that was not happening.
Bridget, if he gets on that rail and he's going to lean over, you got to make sure Salvi doesn't fall over there. So I need you on that top step.
I'm more disappointed in Morgan. My camera guy right here didn't even put his hand out.
Morgan, that's a tough look, Morgan.
Well,
you got to give Morgan a hard time.
No offense, but Bridget, you're holding about a $3,000 microphone. Morgan is operating a $500,000 camera.
There you go, Morgan.
Morgan knows how to put food on the table, and he's not going to mess with it.
Smart man, Morgan.
Good start for Easton McGee. And Morgan and our entire crew is taking the brunt of it today. That Mike Meyer out there, this is not his first rodeo. He's got his hat on and his sunblock.
Look at them all
in the shadows today out there. Now that typically, Haas, is the assignment that requires the most skill, because that's one of the windiest parts of Kansas City, out in the outfield experience. And on a cold day, that water is coming up from the fountains, and they're constantly wiping off the lens in between pitches. If it's cold and the wind's blowing out of the north, it blows right through there. So those guys can be experiencing temperatures 30 degrees cooler than the actual temperature. This is the rare day where I think that's the assignment you want out there, because you're in the shade for a change. So those guys deserve it.
They do deserve it.
Tough assignment.
I remember a game early on, I believe it was against the White Sox, where the water from the fountain just kept raising, sprinkling up in front of the cameras, and it's been so cool to be able to see all the production that goes on behind the scenes from this perspective in the booth here. And it's an unbelievable operation that not only the camera guys, the boys in the truck put on each and every day.
PCA is going to take a challenge here. ABS is powered by T-Mobile.
Chicago has 2 remaining.
Now Steve Kurtenbach reminded me as he was showing me the RoboCam. Actually, the best camera job today is the RoboCam behind home plate, because Eric is operating that from inside an air-conditioned truck and providing this shot right here of Easton McGee. 3 balls and 1 strike on Pete Crow Armstrong. There you go. There's the RoboCam.
Who's flying the drone? That's who I want to go talk to. See if I can get some reps.
We can't tell you that person's name. That's classified information.
Especially me. I'm going to find him.
And Pete Crow Armstrong is on with a walk, his 5th of the series. So the Royals have held him to 1 hit, but he's still been a factor. There you go. There's a drone cam.
Sweet. PCA finally using a challenge. Could have saved him at bat, the first at bat of the game, but such a big difference. 1-2 count versus 2-1. Good time to use it.
Ball 1 on Michael Busch, who is 3 for 3 today, and he has 6 hits in the series. He has scored 2 of the Cubs' runs. Off the end of the bat, and McGee is going to play it to first. So Busch didn't get out of the box, because that's usually a play where you're screaming at the pitcher, no, 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 but he got him by a few steps.
Yeah, Easton McGee under control. When the ball's that slow, grab it with your bare hand, clamp on that backside, and make a good throw. Just stay under control. Good internal clock there for a pitcher.
And now Alex Bregman with a runner at second base, 2 down. He has 2 hits and an RBI. Fouled away. I had some fun with Guthrie on the last road trip, and I told him, what is it about you guys that you have so much self-control and discipline on the mound, precision with your pitches, but when there's a slow roller, a check swing or a bunt, you guys will do the dumbest things to try and get an out at first base. And he laughed and confessed that he was one of the worst. That
oh man.
Blooped into center field, and Isbell has no play. And that is the third time that the Cubs have blooped a single with 2 outs to drive in a run. They get a run back. It's 5-2, and 4 of the 5 runs today have come with 2 outs.
This is a sinker on the inner half. McGee got ahead of Bregman with that first pitch curveball, so good time to use the sinker. Busted in on Alex Bregman, and McGee gets it in there, but Bregman's able to stay through and just bloop it over into the outfield. It's another 2-out hit for the Cubs, and second in all of MLB 2-out hits. And runs, excuse me, 2-out runs. Hits produce runs. That's right, Ryan?
Most of the time. And now Ian Happ puts a charge into one. The Heat will do nothing but help him, and that is over the bullpen for a 2-run home run and a 3-run top of the 6th.
Oh man, Ian Happ. This is why you show up to work every day ready to go. Ian Happ started this series 0 for 5 with 5 strikeouts, and he has turned it around. A 4-seam at 92 miles an hour. Sometimes all it takes is one swing, feeling comfortable, and then you find that. Ian Happ, it's a good time for Ian Happ to get out of town, respectfully, of course. He's starting to heat up.
And now the Cubs have their biggest lead of the day. They had a 4-0 lead until the Royals scored 2 in the 4th inning on the Marte home run, and now they have 3 in the 6th. And that's hit well, but that's going to hook foul off the bat of Conforto. Nine of the Cubs' last 10 runs in this series have come with 2 outs. And Conforto is down on strikes, but damage done. Bregman drives in 1, Happ 2, and Chicago leads by 5. Sonic Slam would come in handy with the Royals down by 5 in the bottom of the 6th. And our contestant today is Andy Sawmiller from Independence. If the Royals hit a home run in this inning, Andy wins $800. If it's a grand slam, Andy wins $25,000. Scan the QR code for more information on how to become a Sonic Slam contestant. That is just the 57th pitch thrown by Matthew Boyd in 5+ innings.
You know, the guys in the bullpen for the Cubs are loving this.
Season low pitch count for him. And I bet his defense is loving this as well on a day like today.
Yeah, this is where it gets really fun here. 2-0 count to Bobby Witt Jr. with a 5-run lead. Hopefully Matthew Boyd challenges him. Good quality fastball in the outer half.
Outside, 3 balls, 1 strike. Last year at Wrigley Field, the Royals took 2 out of 3 from the Cubs. Matthew Boyd had the only win, and he threw 7 shutout innings. And the Royals caught him at a bad time. He was in the middle of 23 consecutive scoreless innings over 3 starts. You and I remember Matthew Boyd from the very beginning. Back in 2015, we were in Toronto, and That was the game when Edinson Volquez drilled Josh Donaldson in the back, and Aaron Sanchez hit Alcides Escobar. And we didn't know we'd be facing them in the playoffs, but it was announced during that series that the Blue Jays had traded for David Price, who was with the Tigers. Strike on Caglione, and in return, the Tigers got two of the best pitching prospects the Blue Jays had, Daniel Norris, a lefty, and Matthew Boyd. And a couple of weeks later in Detroit, Matthew Boyd got his first big league win against you guys.
And then it felt like we faced him for the next 7 years, every other week.
And now 0-2 on Caglione, who's seen a lot of pitches with spin his first time up. And what does the veteran Matthew Boyd do? Throw him 2 fastballs.
A lot easier when you got a 5-run lead. A lot more courage for pitchers to challenge a guy like Jack Caglione when you're pitching with the lead.
Line foul, and Bush almost got a glove on it.
So now Matthew Boyd's thinking, okay, I surprised Jack with the fastballs. He looks like he's on the breaking ball. Now we're getting in Matthew Boyd's head a little bit. Do I go back inside with the fastball, or do I just try and expand on a bigger breaking ball?
That's low. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
He tried to go back up there and in there. Be careful. If you miss with that heater, the whole world got to see what happened last night when pitchers miss out over plate.
Off the end of the bat. And still he hits it out to deep center field. And Taylor, you could see, was purposely pointing himself as the sun has shifted toward the right field foul pole to try and angle as best as he could away from the sun.
Similar to how we saw Nico Horner do it early in the game, and there you go right there. You can see it beaming right off his Oakleys. Some of these outfield, think of Boston right field, the sun placement at certain times, it is hard. If it's a certain spot out there, the ball's hit.
That hit Bobby Wood Jr.
Interesting, because Michael Bush is playing in Bobby's pocket, not holding him on, but they decide to try and pick off with the catcher. I'm sure there's some confusion going around.
One and one on Salvi with 2 outs and nobody on. He singled to center against Boyd, and that was the first hit the Royals had against Boyd in 3 2/3 innings. And right after him, Starling Marte hit a 2-run home run, and the Royals were down 4-2. The Cubs just scored 3 in the top half of this inning. If that's not a balk, there's no such thing as a balk.
I don't understand what's happening right now.
Well, Bobby Wood Jr.'s making him work for it. Everybody touches the ball today.
We're all going to learn something together here, because Bush is behind Bobby Witt Jr. He's not holding him on. If he's in front of him and making an attempt to be back to the first base bag, maybe, but I'm going to let you take this one, Ryan.
Yeah. Well, by making a move to first base, he therefore becomes an eligible fielder over at first. But that was, I guess, a timed play where in a 5-run game you give Bobby Witt Jr. the thought, okay, we're not going to hold you on, and he's playing behind him, and as soon as Boyd lifts the leg, Conforto bolts over to first base. And
nothing about it makes sense to me right now, and I could be dead wrong. You have to be in front of the runner, even if you want to be off the bag, but you still have to at some point in time hold the base runner on. And injury prevention alone, it's like when you fake tag a runner going to second, you don't do that to make the runner slide. I don't understand that play at all. And let's look at it again. There's nothing that says Michael Bush wants to go to first base until Matthew Boyd is already going there. So that, in my opinion, I could be dead wrong, is 100% a balk. I don't get it.
Not to mention, I don't think the imaginary 45-degree line on the mound came into play there. That looked like a stride to the mound if I've ever, or to the plate if I've ever seen one.
And that's about 5 dominoes later. Let's get back to
that's right.
number 1.
Slide and a turn and an on-target throw by Swanson. And after the leadoff walk, the Royals only sent 3 to the plate against Boyd.
Changes everything but you.
Rally House Rally Cam on a hot day with a hot wind blowing out of the south. 7-2 Cubs with a couple of home runs in the game. Ian Happ has a 2-run home run. Starling Marte has a 2-run home run. And Easton McGee, who came on in relief of Dobnak, stays on for the 7th. He allowed 3 in his first inning. Alex Bregman drove in a run with 2 outs with a single, but the big hit was Ian Happ's 2-run home run. And the Cubs, who led early 4-0, now have their biggest lead as they bat in the top of the 7th. Right center field, and it's going to roll deep. Caglione throws. Well, he made it close, but Horner has a leadoff double.
Yeah, Cags made it a lot closer than it should have been. Nico Horner, great piece of hitting here, breaking ball low and away. He's able to drive it into the right center gap, and then Cags with the glove side turn, he's able to get on that back foot, make a good, strong, accurate throw.
And now Dansby Swanson with a runner at second base, nobody out. He is 0 for 3 today and 0 for 10 in the series. But that does not mean he has not contributed, because he has with his glove.
Saw that from pitch 1 last night. Young Carter came out swinging, smokes the ball right off the mound. Dansby doing some glove work, so we've seen the value that Dansby provides on the defensive side.
Up and in, 2-0. You
can see Dansby here. It looks like he's making a timing adjustment. It looked like he was getting his stride load going really, really early. Maybe he feels a little late and wants to get it going. Just exaggerate early.
You were one who was not afraid to mess with your hand position or a leg kick or an early stride or doing whatever you could to find the right timing.
Yeah, I was a rhythm guy, and Dansby, what he's going through right now is he's trying to find that rhythm to get his hands in the launching position. And what he's felt so far this series is being late. So he's saying whatever time I'm starting my swing, I need to exaggerate that and start a second, 2 seconds before that. And it was noticeable right there.
Two on, nobody out for Miguel Amaya. Deep to left field. That's worth 3. And now the Cubs lead 10-2.
Sweeper right here. Miguel Amaya was all over it. Looked like he was either sitting on it or just got a great look. 101 miles an hour off the bat. You see that front foot down early. That's middle of the way up in the zone. Just enough for Amaya to get his arms extended.
Grounded sharply out to Tolbert. And that is out number 1. Tyrone Taylor is 0 for 4. So the Cubs have 3 runs against McGee in the 6th and 3 runs in the 7th, and 5 of the 6 have come on home runs. That's out of play. No balls, 2 strikes. Pete Crow Armstrong will always be associated with the Cubs. At least now he is. But how many people know that he came from the Mets?
A lot of people in New York do. Certainly are feeling that one.
Especially with Javi Baez long gone. And that's hit well to left. That's going to carry. Marte is at the track, and that's going to bounce off the wall. And Pete Crow Armstrong is into second base with just his 2nd hit of the series. But he's been on base a total of 7 times in the series.
That's how you stay through a breaking ball. Let it get deep. Drive it the other way. We see the flags. Wind's blowing towards left field, and it seems like here at Kauffman Stadium this series the ball's been traveling towards left field as well. It's the 23rd double on the year for PCA. Pete Crow Armstrong is putting together a great season, and he's been hot since May on.
Brian Sweeney's out. Here's a message from UMB Private Wealth.
Is my retirement plan on track?
Are my investments aligned with my goals?
Is my plan built for the long run?
Schedule an appointment today.
And now Michael Busch, who has 3 of the Cubs now 15 hits. And nice stop by Luke Maile. So Pete Crow Armstrong was drafted by the Mets in the 1st round in 2020 out of high school in Southern California. And then he played only 6 games in the Mets system, and he injured his right shoulder in the minor leagues and needed surgery. And he ended up with the Cubs in a trade for Javi Baez the very next year. He was still rehabbing from that shoulder surgery. Baez finished the year with the Mets and signed a big contract with the Tigers. And now Pete Crow Armstrong looks to be in Chicago for a very long time. The Crow Armstrong represents his 2 parents. Ashley Crow, and maybe people my age or a little younger might remember the baseball movie Little Big League that came out in 1994, and Pete Crow Armstrong's mom, Ashley Crow, was Billy Haywood's mom. That was 8 years before Pete was born. And if you remember the story, kid growing up in Minnesota, and his grandfather owned the Minnesota Twins, and he passes away and he leaves the team to his grandson Billy, who's trying to run a major league team as a kid. And a lot of big-time big leaguers appeared in that movie. It was filmed mostly at the Metrodome in Minneapolis. That's hit well to center field, and Isbell is there. But anyway, Pete Crow Armstrong, who tags and goes to 3rd, his mom was in that movie. And if it was meant for him to end up in Chicago, his father Matthew Armstrong was also an actor, but he grew up in Illinois, a Cubs fan. So you can imagine how excited he was when Pete was traded to the Cubs.
Crazy how that's all worked out. Little Big League's a great movie. I think Ken Griffey Jr. had a cameo appearance in that one.
Little fun fact, and our crew is nice enough to talk about my days at the University of Minnesota when we were just there, with my head coach passing away suddenly. But a lot of my college teammates were extras in that movie.
Really?
Yeah.
That had been a fun time.
A fun little summer job for them. So there you have it. That's why he is Pete Crow Armstrong, honoring both of his parents. He's a heck of a player, but his name really messes up a broadcaster's scorecard.
Looks pretty sweet on a jersey. Anytime they loop around the number like that, it's a good look.
It'd be like if he played for the Cardinals. It looks like the arch on the back of his jersey.
It looks exactly like that. If he was a Cardinal, there'd be some good marketing for PCA out there, but he is anything but a Cardinal wearing that uniform.
That's right. You got that right.
Any of your teammates get to meet Griffey, or they didn't film on the same day?
Yeah,
really?
they did. Yeah, said he was great. Randy Johnson also appeared in the movie. Some big leaguers had cameos. I think Ken Griffey Jr. maybe robs a home run to end the movie, to end the Twins' push to go to the playoffs. The inning ends with a strikeout, but that comes after the Cubs score 3 more and take an 8-run lead.
.com/promotions.
Kansas City Royals baseball is presented by your Kansas City Kia dealers. Visit kia.com to discover movement that inspires. By Commerce Bank, proud to be the official banking services provider of the Kansas City Royals. And by Menards, save big money at Menards. The Royals will hit the road after today, and a very rare 1-week trip to basically the same area. The Royals will be in the Los Angeles/Orange County area for a week. 3 games against the Dodgers beginning tomorrow night, and then Tuesday night, Wednesday night the Royals will have an off day in Southern California, and then over to Orange County, and they'll play the Angels on Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday afternoon, with the A's and the Tigers awaiting the Royals on the next homestand. Hey, make sure you watch tomorrow. Our next broadcast will feature Noah Cameron, who's been on a roll, facing some lefty that the Dodgers just picked up in a trade with the Tigers. It'll be Tarek Skubal's second start as a Dodger, but his first at Dodger Stadium. But if Noah Cameron continues to pitch like he has lately, the Dodgers will have their hands full.
And don't be late either, because Noah Cameron, this new pace that he's featuring, calling his own pitches on the pitch comp. It's been fun to watch. He's been working quick. Some great outings since then.
And I'm sure as a fellow lefty, even though his team is down big, that he can admire what Matthew Boyd at age 35 and going strong has done over 6 innings. What's more impressive, 2 earned runs or 72 pitches?
I'm going to go with the 72 pitches, because that bullpen for the Chicago Cubs, they could use a day of rest. So far, Matthew Boyd's been picking them up in more than one way.
All right, Haas, let's see if Boyd goes after Starling Marte with a changeup this time around. He threw him 1 good one and 1 bad one, and he paid for the bad one.
He did pay for it. Starling Marte got all of that changeup.
Up and away.
You see 2 fastballs from Matthew Boyd. The last at bat that Marte homered, he tried to ambush Boyd with a fastball, 0-0 count, and he was still late on it. So it feels like Matthew Boyd went back, got the iPad, watched the at bat, and said, I should have stuck with my fastball. He was late. I sped up his bat speed with the changeup. So he's stuck to all heaters fastballs so far this at bat against Marte.
On the ground to second. And you and I were talking about this yesterday. It's not always the wrong pitch. It's was the pitch located correctly. And here's the at bat to Marte last time up.
That one just there to Marte, located perfectly. And this one, that's a perfect location when it fades low and away. And then that one, you can see that changeup that Marte hit out of the ballpark. Looks like it almost cut towards Marte. And sometimes when the pitcher holds onto that grip a little too long, instead of that fade they're going for, that's when that ball pulls towards Marte's direction. Right into that barrel, too, right into the sweet spot. Almost looked like a cut changeup, so to speak.
And speaking of a cut changeup, and speaking of left-handers, and speaking of the Dodgers, Chris Bubich was traded to the Dodgers during the trading deadline, and his changeup has a cutting action to it. Shallow left field, and that's down for Michael Massey's second hit.
Keep playing the game, Michael Massey. You've seen on the defensive side, play after play, and continues to put in good at-bats. Taking the slider off the plate there. Matthew Boyd's looking back like, what just happened? I executed exactly where I wanted to execute that pitch. Michael Massey, good two-strike approach there. Put some barrel on it.
Tyler Tolbert is not tempted by a slow curveball at 71 miles an hour. He's 0 for 2 with a line out to third.
That's what's fascinating and impressive watching some of these pitchers work, is their ability to spin and move the baseball. Even with the changeup grip, the one Matthew Boyd threw to Starling Marte, he wasn't meaning to do it there, but you see guys with changeups, their ability to throw a cut changeup, a changeup that fades, a circle changeup, just different type of pitches, and they're still able to make the movement more or less whatever they want to do.
2-1. Two balls, two strikes. There's a changeup right there. That one had more cutting action to it, but he got away with it.
The hitter's expression and reaction will tell you everything. You see there Tyler Tolbert taking a good hard cut and then immediately look back up at the scoreboard, and you can tell he saw something he wasn't expecting and wanted to see the velocity on it.
Three and two. Luke Maile is next.
.3-2 for Boyd was the highest percentage for a fastball, so let's see what happens here. Nice catch.
And a very unique catch.
On the first row, use the body, keep the hands low.
While collapsing back into his seat, it served him well to fall backwards and not forward, sitting in the front row of the upper deck.
Smooth landing.
And Tolbert takes a walk, and the Royals have 2 on with 1 out. What's the ultimate goal of any MLB fan? How about seeing it all, as in all 30 ballparks? And the MLB Journey to 30 sweepstakes, presented by T-Mobile, is absolutely that. You can enter now for a chance to win trips to all 30 ballparks at MLB.com/Journey to 30. As Tommy Hotovy goes out to have a word with Matthew Boyd, and we're always happy to see Tommy back in town. A Kansas City kid who got a chance to play briefly for the Royals from Park Hill South High School in Riverside, where he also played quarterback for the Panthers, and from there to Wichita State. Drafted by the Red Sox, and he made his big league debut at age 29 back in 2011. And Ryan Zefferjon, speaking of local guys who played baseball at KU, is warming up in the Cubs bullpen. Luke Maile has one of the 5 Royals hits today with a leadoff single in the 5th inning. One and one.
Bring up Tommy Hotovy. I remember a time that it was not so pleasant to see him, and that was my first live at bat in 2013 spring training. Tommy Hotovy, for those who don't know, is a lefty specialist that came out of the bullpen throughout his career. And he would drop down sidearm for a left-hander, and he had a nasty sinker with the slider sweeper. So I remember Ned Yost put myself and Mike Moustakas in there, first at bat, live batting practice, left on left, and we looked at Ned and said, we're trying to bounce back and have a good season here. This is tough day one to face Tommy. Tommy's turned into one of the game's top pitching coaches, really good at understanding the information and translating that to the player, creating ways to take the player's mindset off of whatever the information is telling them, and Tommy just finds ways to create something to simplify the mind.
Backing out of play. Fun little note about Tommy Hotovy, and it applies to not the Royals but a Royals player, and this was before the 3-batter minimum and you could come in and face one guy, but he waited all that time to get to the big leagues. And in 2011, at 29 years old, the Red Sox were playing a series with the A's, and he appeared in 3 straight games to face David DeJesus and got him out all 3 games.
He knew the assignment. Lefty specialist.
Remember a story he told when he was here. You know, we're catching up on him and his career because it had been a while, but he was the Kansas City Stars high school scholar athlete of the year, and he was supposed to throw out a first pitch here at Kauffman Stadium in May of 2000 for winning that, but the game was rained out.
Got to make that up for Tommy.
Up and away, 3 balls 2 strikes on Mailey, with Boyd at 93 pitches and wiping his face after every pitch because of the sweat. So he's, I'm sure, feeling the effects of this heat. But he's pitched with very little stress today, and he gets a strikeout of Mailey for out number 2. That is just his 3rd strikeout and his first since the 1st inning. Kyle Isbell takes outside.
Pitch number 95 for Boyd, so pretty obvious this is going to be the last guy. Look for him to empty the tank here.
Delayed call and right on the edge. Two and one.
It's interesting, Boyd. Last pitch, got the ball, went right to his pitch comm and called the pitch immediately. And this one, he's relying on Amaya back there behind the plate.
Line to left field and caught by Happ. So that is 7 excellent innings for Matthew Boyd, and he'll depart with his team up by 8.
Let's go places.
Okay, today's Rally House moment that matters. Ian Happ starting to catch fire here in Kansas City. He took this 4-seam fastball, got under it, hit it 100 miles an hour to right field for his 2nd home run of the series.
On the first pitch, and now he has 7 home runs this year, 7 of his 20 on the first pitch. And Lucas Erceg and Luke Mailey are aware of that, I'm sure, as Erceg takes over in the 8th. And throws a strike, so not affected. He's like, you want a first pitch? Here's 97 for you. Erceg pitched a scoreless inning on Friday with the Royals down by 2. No balls, 2 strikes. It was a scoreless inning, but not just any scoreless inning. Not an easy scoreless inning. 3 up, 3 down as Urseg continues to fight to get back to his 2024-2025 form. There's a 3-pitch strikeout, and that's a good start for him. But Haas, in that game on Friday, he gave up a leadoff single, and the way he's been going, you think, all right, how's this going to affect him? Next batter, Bregman, ground ball double play. All right, 2 outs, nobody on. With the count 1-2, he hits a batter. All right, how's that going to affect him? Foul out to first, inning over.
Love to see it. Bounce back. Players in today's game understand I'm going to make mistakes, physical mistakes, and that's okay. Just bounce right back. What you don't want to happen is the mental mistakes. You don't want to second guess yourself, not throw the right pitch, grab the ball, be convicted, and if it doesn't happen, you don't execute the way you do or you wanted to, just get right back on that mound. Next pitch.
He just threw a cutter inside on Conforto, and that's a pitch that he's been working on lately. Out over the plate and line to right field on a changeup. That's a pitch that just hasn't been as effective for him this year as it's been in the last 2 years. And now the Cubs are going to pinch hit Pedro Ramirez for Nico Hoerner. Hoerner was on base 3 times today with 2 hits, a walk. Drove in a run, he scored a run, and he stole a base. Way outside, 1 ball and no strikes. Ramirez had a pinch hit at bat last night and was 0 for 1. He hit a home run in the game here on Friday. 1 of 2 hits in that game. It was his 2nd big league home run. He was called up to the big leagues for the first time this past May. And now he's down, or rather the count is 1 ball, 1 strike.
Cubs trying to get Nico Hoerner off his feet. Nico's a guy that plans on trying to play every single day, so these are the moments here you can get him a couple innings off, and you can see the Royals responded defensively. Salvador Perez playing back behind the runner. Michael Conforto not going anywhere. This is both teams just kind of playing back and forth, a little courtesy, I guess.
That's out of play. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Cubs tank top, Royals cap, and that fan has a souvenir today.
Good day for a tank top. Just different shade of blue.
3-2. And that's hit to right field, but right at Caglione. 2 down in the 8th. Royals pitchers have struck out 8 so far today, and when the Royals get 10 or more strikeouts, you get a free Frito-Lay snack the next day at Price Chopper. Dansby Swanson with a runner at first base and 2 down. And Urseg appears to be all right. Usually a pitcher will lose their balance when they stride, but he lost his balance after he delivered the pitch as he was kind of recoiling.
Sometimes those metal spikes, one of the spikes gets caught in the dirt there and just kind of locks your foot and gets you a little stuck.
Up the middle and into center field, and Swanson has his first hit of the series. He had been 0 for 10, and the Cubs have runners at first and second with 2 down. And that brings up Miguel Amaya. who hit a 3-run home run in his last at bat. 4-0 Cubs, 4-2 Cubs, and now they've scored the last 6 runs. 10 runs, 17 hits today, after a total of 9 runs and 16 hits in the first 2 games combined.
Maya hit the home run on the first pitch, breaking ball that was middle away. So this is the fun stuff that you look to see. What's his adjustment the next at bat? Is he on the heater here? And how aggressive is he?
Well located pitch. Late. So the so-called book would say he's late on the fastball. Go to it again, right?
Yeah, and this is where it's tricky because the swing tells you that, and if you go and you look at Miguel Amaya and you start breaking him down against the right-hander, he only slugs 220 and 200 slider sweeper. So
slider sweeper.
Stick with it. Lucas Erceg, good morning, good afternoon, good night. We can get used to that combo right there.
Mo Willems' popular kids series is coming to life here at Kauffman Stadium on August 23rd on Elephant and Piggy Day. So bring the whole family and enjoy special activities, some surprises, and maybe even a chance to meet Elephant and Piggy. You'll also take home a special themed bobblehead. All you have to do is purchase your theme ticket at Royals.com/elephantpiggy. And how you transition from that to Pedro Ramirez at second base is not something you learn in college or in real life, but Pedro Ramirez is at second base.
I was waiting to see how you pulled it off.
And this is Ryan Zefferjan, who missed KU Day by 1 day. That was last night. And he was signed by the Red Sox in the 3rd round out of KU in 2019. He grew up in Topeka and graduated from Seaman High School. Two balls, 1 strike.
Hitters challenging.
Slider on the outer half. Let's see if it's catch and plate.
Pitch to the strike. Kansas City has 1 remaining.
Zefferjan must have been listening to you, Ryan, back in the day, calling some Royals games. You see him out there with the long sleeves. Humidity's not affecting him and trying to prevent that sweat.
The Royals have seen him before with the Angels. He was one of the 5 big league players traded to the Cubs before the deadline this year. Three and 2.
98. Just missed the corner there.
Still 3 and 2 on Lofton. And that's a called 3rd strike. Bridget's going to take one for the team. The K-State Wildcat is going to tell us more about the KU Jayhawk.
I know, it's like pulling teeth, honestly, Ryan, but you mentioned it. He's from Topeka, played for the Jayhawks in college, and it was perfect timing for him to be here KU night, getting to see a bunch of friends and family. And I caught up with him the other day, and he told me he actually lives in Kansas City during the off season. So this week has been nice for him in general, just getting to sleep in his own bed, see his family and friends. Of course, he was traded recently to the Cubs, so with a lot of adjusting going on in his life, it was nice for him to have this Kansas City trip, the 2nd one of the year for him.
All right, how does that feel, Bridget? You okay?
Miserable.
Okay.
Unbiased. Way to remain
He said
unbiased.
it like a pro, though.
Thank you. Well, I
Yeah.
will tell you, yesterday, Royals hitting coach Connor Dawson came up to me in the dugout and just was giving me the hardest of times. He loves KU.
Rubbing it
and
in.
I effectively put a big EMA hand sign in his face.
I mean, you see Zephyr John right now. He's fired up. Saw some 98s, 99. You got a little extra adrenaline anytime you stop in back at your hometown.
Two and two, and this is an important out for him, as is every out. But when he made his Kauffman Stadium debut here last year in September, he ended up taking the loss after Bobby Witt Jr. hit a game-tying home run against him in the 8th inning.
It's not the guy you want to face on your hometown return.
Yep, that was his welcome home. And he gets Junior this time around, and Zephyr John has back-to-back strikeouts to begin the bottom of the 8th. He was traded to the Angels from the Red Sox in 2024 and made his big league debut in August of 2024. 6'5", Ryan Zephyr John.
It was 99 at the top of the zone to Bobby Witt Jr. and that's frustrating as a hitter. 2-1 count. Fastball looked a little off the plate. 3-1 count is way different when you have the ability to anticipate a heater versus 2 strikes.
Jack Caglione is 0 for 3. One day after the game of his life. That's baseball, isn't it?
Yeah, that's baseball. And if I'm Zephyr John right here, if I'm pitching in my hometown, I'm not going to challenge Jack with a 2-0 heater.
And hits the net on the way down. 2 balls, 1 strike. Jack Caglione carried a 7-game hitting streak into today's game.
Let that be known, young hitters. I know Jack Caglione's different. It's a 2-0 count in a 10-2 ball game. There is no such thing as a fastball count anymore, especially at this level.
I think Amaya's earpiece came out from his PitchCom device as he was in pursuit of that pop-up.
That wouldn't be cool. See the pitcher push to the PitchCom and you can't hear anything, and all of a sudden his windup starts. You don't know what's coming. Let's see some power versus power here. I'd love to see a 99-mile-an-hour fastball in the zone. See what happens.
A swing, and it's 2-2. Bregman plays the second hop, and the throw is wide, but first base umpire Louis Krupa says that Bush applied the tag. And the Royals are going to take a look at it, or they want the umpires to take a look at it.
Call on the field is out at first base. Kansas City is challenged.
Let's see. If you look at Jack right now, he's telling the dugout he didn't feel anything. Looks like he just missed him. Tries to go for the lower back here. Good job from Bush getting off the bag, and just.
Can you prove that he didn't hit his right elbow or right forearm? Here's another angle. That one you can.
Boom. That's why you need multiple angles. Stadium seeing the angle that confirms it.
And then this angle would help us see that he didn't swipe the jersey. So I think all three of those angles.
Looks clear.
And that's why Bill Duplessis took every bit of the 15 seconds to see it from as many angles as possible.
After review, the runner was not tagged. Ball on the field's overturned. Runner is safe. Kansas City retains their challenge.
So not only is the call overturned, but Jack Caglione gets an infield hit and an 8-game hitting streak.
Good hard 90 there from Jack Caglione. A lot of frustration there. 2-0 slider, 2-1 slider, questionable check swing. Take your frustration out on a hard 90 and you get rewarded for it. Keep the 8-game hitting streak going.
And now Zephyr-John gets Salvador Perez, and that's probably a thrill for him, figuring his age and when he was growing up in Topeka. Who was your first? Oh my gosh, I'm facing who?
Me, Mariano Rivera. Oh man, when I got in that box off of Mariano, I said this is crazy. And I got the 3-0. He threw the third ball and kind of laughed at the umpire and looked at him like, that was a ball, really? And then 3-1 was a backdoor cutter I didn't see, and 3-2 he just absolutely sawed me off with a cutter inside.
That makes you official though, right? When Mariano Rivera breaks your back.
And it made me feel about this big. You can't see my fingers, but little bitty guy.
So I wonder, when you got in the box, was there a part of you that was like, is this the real Mariano Rivera or just some other guy named Mariano Rivera?
I'm like, is this a movie? And then let me see this cutter. Let me see what everyone's been talking about. And of course you see one, you're like, I can hit that. Then you go to swing and it was otherwise.
Was it how much it broke or how late you picked up the break?
It was like for me, he was one of maybe 3 pitchers in the league that whatever I would swing at in my mind and my eyes were telling me I saw, I'd go back and look on video and it was a ball or two off of what I saw at the plate. It was the craziest thing.
I mean, that in my opinion, in my broadcasting career, that was the most dominant pitch in the game, because somebody wants to find a dominant pitch as the hitter knows it's coming and they still can't do anything with it. I mean, everybody knew this is what you're going to get.
Yeah, it's different from Mizorowski in Milwaukee throwing 106 and 105 with extension. It was 94 to 95 miles an hour, and it was just the movement, the deception that you couldn't pick it up. It was just something hidden that hitters did not figure out at all throughout his career.
A slow roller. Zephyr-John will just take it himself. And he has a scoreless bottom of the 8th.
Michelin, motion for life.
Do you have what it takes to be the next Royals TV Cap Federal Junior Broadcaster? Visit Royals.com/Junior Broadcaster to enter. Josh Rojas will pitch with his team down by 8 in the 9th inning. This is the 5th time he's been called upon to pitch a blowout game. Yeah, a little hesitation. And finally, our technology has learned to read the ephus.
Classifies as an ephus.
Taylor singles to right, where John Rave has taken over, and Jack Caglione has come in from right field to first base.
It's always felt like a lose-lose situation for the position player hitting right now. If you hit a home run, you're supposed to. If you swing and miss, it's the ultimate embarrassment on a baseball field.
Jammed. And the Royals get the lead runner. All right, let's break down that pitch. Haas, what did Rojas do there?
So if you look at the movement chart, that's almost worse for PCA.
StatCast 3D powered by Google Cloud.
Here's PCA that's just locked in the zone, and now all of a sudden he's got a position player throwing 60 miles an hour. You almost wonder if an at-bat like that will just get him off his timing and rhythm. These guys are so programmed, these everyday players, that that type of at-bat might have hurt him more than did him well.
This is James Triantos pinch hitting for Michael Bush. Had a 3-hit game. Speeds up and slows down. And Rave is back in right field. The ball carried on him some. And there are 2 down. You have any memorable at-bats against a position player?
I did one, which I'm pretty sure when I was with San Diego in Wrigley Field, and I remember popping up to the pitcher, but I'm drawing a blank on who it was that was pitching. Try to erase that memory from my life, right? I'm pretty sure I was 0 for 1.
How about dropping down there for a strike on Bregman?
Bregman's not too thrilled about it. Rojas is just having some fun with it.
I guess you could always have the option of just having some fun with it, like Anthony Rendon did a few years ago, who was a right-hand batter and was like, all right, if I'm going to face a position player as a pitcher, I'm going to bat left-handed, and he hit a home run.
Oh, man. He's saying, put it on my baseball card, it counts.
I think what he hit it off of Brett Phillips. Does that sound right? Former Royal?
It does sound right. Brett Phillips had the ability to get it up there velocity-wise if he wanted to, but I don't think he did on that one.
Yeah, it's almost like the league all came together and agreed, hey, let's just have our position players just lob it up there.
Yeah, you don't want anybody getting hurt in this situation.
Rojas is having some fun out there. Why not?
Bregman, not so much. Dropping down. Maybe he's playing a little tribute to Tommy Hotovy from the right side.
Pitching out of the windup with a runner at first base. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Now a little Johnny Cueto.
Yeah.
See if he gives the Johnny Cueto shimmy here. There it is.
Yeah, he's listening to you.
Not going to get a Christmas card from the Bregman family this year, Mr. Rojas.
But he gets a scoreless top of the 9th inning.
It's Toyota's national.
Today's copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Kansas City Royals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals. Josh Rojas is explaining his pitching skill to Marcus Thames, who's just going along and laughing. This is Javier Assad coming on in a 10-2 game in the bottom of the 9th. And it's 1 ball, 1 strike on Starling Marte.
It's a good arm for the Cubbies. Javier Assad, valuable as a pitcher. He can start, he can work out of the bullpen, tough on righties.
Backhanded at second by Triantos over to Ramirez. Ramirez had moved from second base to first with Triantos pinch hitting in the 9th. He stays in the game at second base. So there are the Cubs changes, and the Cubs are 2 outs away from winning their 8th consecutive road series. Michael Massey hits it deep to left field. Back goes Happ, turned around, and he's got it. He gets a 5 for grace, but maybe a 10 of just knowing where to go and get the ball.
Yeah, knows he's on the track, understands where the wall is. This ball was off the bat of Michael Massey, and it came off hot. It seemed like the baseball has been carrying that way all series. I'm surprised. I thought Michael Massey got enough to get that ball over.
And now fly ball to right field. And so the Cubs win it today. They win the series 2-1. And the Royals finish 3-3 on the homestand against the Twins and the Cubs. And the Royals will pack up and head to LA. It's been a pleasure, Haas.
It's been a pleasure, Ryan. Be here at the end of the month, and some good baseball this weekend. We got to see some superstars on full display offensively, defensively. And it was the 6th inning. That big swing from Ian Happ was the one today that was the big blow.
So it'll be Jake and Hud tomorrow at Dodger Stadium. Our coverage begins at 8:45 with Royals pregame. For director Steve Kurtenbach, producer Kevin Cedergren, associate producers Sam Abramson, Al Broughton, and Sean Van Beesler. The producer of pregame and postgame is John Harvey. So for Eric Hosmer and Bridget Howard, this is Ryan Lefevre. Thanks for watching. Royals postgame presented by Price Chopper with Joel and Monty is